for loop. Alafu kazi ya the second for loop sasa ni ku iterate nini? Ni sasa ku iterate
recording has stopped.
Ni ku iterate I hope nasikia cause nasikia hii stuff inasema recording has stopped.
Tunakusikia.
Oh, ni sawa. So the second for loop sasa ni ya ku iterate through. Acha ni jaribu ku explain. So let's say hii ni kazi ya the first hii ni kazi ya the first for loop. Alafu for the second for loop kazi ya the second for loop ni iterate from A hadi Z. So hii ni second for loop. So tukienda back to our code tunaona the first for loop ni from 0 to 10, that is repeating A, B, C, D hadi Z 10 times, and then the second for loop ni iterating from A hadi Z, so it will print A hadi Z, and then after printing A hadi Z tumeambiwa like after printing A hadi Z kunafai kuwe na a new line, so it will print the new line. After printing the new line, I will be increased by 1, so if it was 0 it will go to 1. It will repeat the same process, and then ikifika kwa new line inakuwa increased tena, it will be 2. It will repeat the same process, so repeat the same process hadi ifike 9. The reason why tunafika 9 ni because tulianza from 0. If we started from 1, if we started from 1 tunaweza sema 1, but if we started from 1 then that means condition yetu itakuwa hivi. There's no problem, we can start from 0, we can start from 1. If you're comfortable with starting from 1, remember your condition should be I less than or equal to 10. So alafu tutaingia kwa main function. The main function will just call your program yetu ya print alphabet 10 times, and then since our main function has a return type of int, then we will return 0. By default, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. By default, 0 it is used kuonyesha that the program ran successfully. Return value itakuwa 0. Only 0, meaning that the program was a success. And then return type ya 1 way inatumika kuonyesha the program ili encounter some errors. So kama kuna msee ako na question anaweza kuniambia.
I think that your question umetackle vizuri. Sawa, I think if kuna mtu ako na swali anaweza uliza. But so far it's okay.
Yeah, so let me proceed to the next question, ambayo ni question 3. Inasema write a function that checks for lowercase character So the prototype tunaona ni hii hapa.
Amani,
Yeah.
I have a question. In the looping process, why do you have to start with the first outer loop? Mbona tuanze na I is equal to 0, I is equal to 10? Can you do it the other way around? Will it make a difference?
It will make a difference. The reason why it will make a difference ni I can explain this, but the first for loop inatumika tu kutrack vile nimekuonyesha hapa. The first for loop inatumika kutrack how many times we will print the alphabets. So let's say our definition ya alphabets ni A hadi Z. So if we want to print the alphabet that is from A hadi Z 10 times ama 5 times, then we'll have to create a for loop ambayo ina track that iteration. So like but then the second for loop ni ya print the alphabet the same. If we did it the other way around, tuna print alphabets, then sijui
Try tuone what will happen.
Sawa, acha nijaribu. So alphabet. Yeah. Is less than or equal to Z.
Amani.
Kama kuna msee anaweza
Nilikuwa nauliza swali.
nini, sikuangalia jina hata, anaweza tu kuongea tena. Nani yako ameuliza hii swali ya kama tu
I think ilikuwa Anet.
Anet. Yeah.
Anet. Ulikuwa session ya asubuhi tukifanya hiyo story ya nini? Ile swali ya kuprint combination of the digits.
Combination of 2 digits ama 3?
Of 2 digits.
Wasn't at the end of it.
So unaweza ingia Amani, unaweza ingia Excalibur hapo kiasi. Okay, unacheki hapo juu tu.
Hapa.
Rudi chini. Before tu hiyo nini yenye umeandika sahi. Hapa. Yeah, so like kwa hii ni explanation ya hii combine 2 digits. Si tulikuwa nafaa kuprint kutoka 0 hadi 99 using putchar. So kwa for loop ya kwanza unaona hii column iko na 0 1, ingeendelea hapa ingekuwa 2 3 hadi mwisho.
Yeah, naona.
So hii column inatolewa na loop ya kwanza. So the first iteration ya for loop kwa hii question ya alphabets itakuja iprint kwa the 0th column, itaprint kutoka A hadi Z.
But I think
kwa the second iteration iprint kutoka tena A to Z. So ukireverse, ukianza na A to Z kwa columns, itakuja kwa A iprint 10 times. Then ikuja tena kwa B iprint 10 times. Then saa nini itareversiwa tu.
Tukireverse I think itakuja kwa A alafu iprint 1 2 3 hadi 10 ama 1 2 3 hadi 9. Yeah. Yeah, thanks for that.
Alafu
I
Abu
hope
washa mic.
umeelewa.
Wache kuchange jina hapa.
Nimeelewa, niko sawa.
Sinacheki
So
hapo
far
tuko na Andrew. Andrew,
Si
tuko
si unajiita Andrew.
huu ni ngumbao. Sini I think
sino
ni
mimi.
mentor.
Sio ni mentor ametubariki msee.
Haya, kuna kitu.
Tu
Haya, umeenda mgani atuambia tutumie greets ati cheka will work.
yeah,
Sawa.
asili
Nina proceed kwa the next
ama
question
ni
kama
Manu.
una any other. Sawa.
Yeah, I
The
think
next
tutaendelea tu.
sawa. So the next question inasema write a function that checks for lower letters. Prototype ni tumepatiwa, so we are restricted to using this prototype. Alafu returns 1 if C is lowercase, returns 0 otherwise. So the first thing ambao I think this is very easy because the only thing ambao tutakuwa tunafanya ni the first tutakuwa tu tunatumia nini control statements kama tunaweza kutumia if. Alafu the reason why walitupatia int the parameter as int c and not character ni cause sasa wanatuforce tutumie ASCII codes. Yeah, I think so. So kitu ambacho tutafanya ni tutaenda kwa terminal letu to clear, alafu we'll just take this file, just take that file and then open it with Vim, then tutaingia hapo ndani alafu so tuta declare hii function yetu using the prototype. So paste to hapo and then we'll begin defining our function so hapo unafaa tunatumia slower. So tunasema let me acha nitoke nje kiasi. So man alafu you can duplicate the tab. Okay. So hapa kile tunafai tuangalie hapa ni tunaangalia like pali the uppercase hapa, what is required of us ni kucheck kama S is lowercase, so tunaangalia I think there's no need ya kuangalia ASCII cause kile tunaweza fanya ni tunaweza kuingia tu hapo, tunaweza ingia hapo alafu tu tunatumia our if statement, if C is greater than or equal to, if C is greater than or equal to A, and C is less than or equal to Z. That is Z. What we're supposed to do equal return 0. Alafu return 0 otherwise. So else what we are supposed to return, that is we are supposed to return 1. So and then yeah, so like vile code yetu like nikitry kuexplain my code ni hapa tumedeclare the function is lower ambayo inachukua the nini, inachukua the parameter int c. So hapo like and then after that tunakuja tunachek sasa. So because the only thing that is required of us in this task ni kucheck if the letter that was inputted ama that was taken as an argument is a lowercase letter, and the way we can check that ni tunatumia just the if statements. So hapa condition yetu ya kucheck if the if condition is true ni tunasema if c is greater than or equal to a and if c is less than or equal to z. So if hiyo condition itakuwa ni true, then we will return a 0. Otherwise ni kama
I thought 0 inakuanga false na 1 ni success kwa si ama ni the other way around.
yeah.
Unaona pass.
So thanks for that. Hapa inafaa ikuwe 1
No, 0.
0.
I think 0 ndo success and then 1 ni false.
Ndio amesema yeye ana define for if a to z is ni lowercase ita return 1, but if it's not between your range ya a to z ita return false ama
yeah. Nini kwa like
So
sasa
if statement hiyo if statement yako ina return 1 mbona
ina return 1 cause nini hapo inasema the question tuambia to return 1 if c is lowercase, and usually in C wa the one way iko any number, any integer above any integer ambao is not a 0 iko na a boolean value of true, but the integer 0 ndo huwa iko na boolean value of false. But sasa kwa C huwa kwangi na hizo boolean data type, so that's why wanatumianga nini. Hello.
Nimekuelewa man.
Ni sawa. So alafu tunaenda kwa main, alafu void. So hapa tunaweza chukua one test case. So ilikuwa ni int r and then alafu tunasema r is
Faith anataka ku request, I think anataka kuuliza swali ama
ni sawa. Acha proceed kuuliza the swali. Hello Faith, swali ni gani? Ama uko na
Haya, sina swali, imefanya kujifinya kibahati mbaya, poleni.
ni sawa. So acha niendelee slower, alafu hii tutasema ni capital H. So one thing unafai unote like hii function yetu ya is lower iko na parameter int, but the argument ambayo tunaipatia ni a character. So like what it will do, like this is typecasting, so it will take h convert into the ASCII code, alafu the ASCII code ndo sasa tutakuwa tunazi compare. So hapo alafu itakuwa so that is yeah. Where is it? Labda itakuwa ni D. That is alafu F and then but let's print F tunaweza weka our tukijaribu kurun program yetu so 3 is lower C, alafu output tunataka ikue in terms of 3 is lower nisahau ku include nini nisahau ku include the standard library, so tuta include tu hapo include stdio.h yeah. Alafu kwanza ya print 3 haija print 0 it's lower, let's see kuna mtu anaweza kufigure out kwa nini haiprint 0 kwa the small nini kwa the capital H?
Umeweka hiyo printf wapi?
Actually, angalia hivi
Uko na printf?
And
Actually
kuna
imeprint
printf.
0.
Imeprint 0.
Ingia kwa nini, toka hapo alafu slide hiyo slider yako huko chini upeleke to the left.
Ama ukopi
Peleka slide yako to the left drone, hapo
Kama
ni
ni
01.
nimesha kuelewa. Ni vile nimezoom in. Sawa, asante.
So unaweza go through hiyo code yako kiasi tu.
Ni sawa.
Hapo hiyo section ya mwisho kwenye printf.
So let me repeat the code. So the code ni hivi. Let's say the program like si itaanza kucompile from the main. So hapa tule declare our variable r. Kwa variable r tukai assign the return value of is lower when the argument is capital H. So tutaruka hapa, tutakuja itaingia to this function, ita run this function ambayo ni int is lower. Since H ni character but our parameter is int, itakuwa watafanya like ile inaitwa nini, typecasting. So like they'll change the H into the ASCII code ambao you can find out later the ASCII code ya H. So hapa tutaingia tunaenda to our if statement. The if statement inatumika kuangalia like if C is greater than or equal to A, and like this if statement, what it basically does ni kuangalia if our parameter is a lowercase by giving this condition: if C is greater than or equal to Z or equal to A and less than or equal to Z. So ukiingiza anything apart from a lowercase haitakuwa within this range kwa the ASCII code. So if our condition is true, that is if our argument is a small case letter, ita return 1. Else, that is if our argument is an uppercase letter, ama if our argument is a number, is a digit, ama if our argument is a colon, hizo hizo other characters kama colon, backspace, ama just an empty string, ama just as like string ambayo haina iko na just space, then it will return 0. So after that kama like let's say if tumeweka uppercase hapa, it will run just the else code, alafu so it will return 0. Ikisha return 0, that return value itakuwa assigned to R. If it has been assigned to R, then we will use printf kuprint your return value, like sasa display kwa terminal yetu. That is the work of printf. So yeah, that's it. So tuna print hapa, tuta print 0, alafu hapa tuta print 1 because small caps H is a lowercase letter. Alafu after that tuna print a new line, ndio twende kwa like to get your return, like hizo whatever is being displayed haitakuwa imeshikana na prompt yetu ya terminal. I hope that is clear. I'm close to clear.
Iko poa.
Sawa.
Yeah, umeexplain vizuri. If kuna mtu ako na swali kaja leo anaweza uliza. but I think sasa
Sawa. Alafu kwa our next task ni task 4 inauliza write a function that checks for alphabetic character. So the prototype tunafai tuweke is alpha, alafu it returns 1 if C is a letter that is lowercase ama uppercase and returns 0. So this is very similar to whatever we have done kwa hii task 3. The only difference ni hapo kwa if statement yetu tutaweka condition ya kucheck both for lowercase and for uppercase. So wacha tu open file yetu na vim na v yes. So tuna insert and then include your library to sahi. And then so what nitafanya nitachukua this function declaration ambayo tumepatiwa hapa, then just paste it there, then go straight to defining that function. So vile tulikuwa naambia, this ni very similar to ile ambayo tumefanya before. So the only difference ni tutacheck if C, tutaanza kucheck if C is less than or equal to A, alafu and if C is only if C is greater than or equal to A, and if C is less than or equal to A. Alafu tunaweza tu ku add hizi brackets, zinaitwa brackets, make code yetu ikuwe more clear manita. So alafu hapa tunasema if C is greater than or to so hivyo, alafu hapa tunaweka hiyo condition nyingine ambayo ina correspond if C is less than or equal to capital Z.
Singeka kwa bracket hapo, si opening brackets ungeka.
Kwa C
Like hiyo ya pili achana na ya kwanza.
na kila kitu iko sawa. Nimefanya kitu. Yeah. I think ipo kwa sawa. Yeah, so tutaenda hapo, alafu what we're supposed to return ni tuna return 1, alafu else we return return 0. Yeah. So that's basically it. After tuna declare our main function with the parameter void. Then what we will do is we'll just declare a variable check, alafu this variable check assign tutaassign the return tutaassign the return value of its alpha is alpha to that variable check. So we are storing our return value kwa the variable check, and then we print f. Tunaweza tumia put char no. Tunaweza tumia put char check plus 0. So hii expression tu ina convert the ASCII code to a character, kitu kama hicho. So alafu hapa tutasema check, tutaleta our second test is alpha, and then kama h put char check plus 0. Tunaweza kuja na a third test ambayo ni is alpha, tuweke kitu kama nini, tuweke kitu kama backstroke, alafu tuta put char check.
Niko na correction moja ya line 5
Uh-huh.
Tumeka a na inapekwa a
Oh.
na z.
Sawa. Thank you for spotting that. So hapa itakuwa small caps Z. So and then itakuwa tu hivyo, and then tutaifinalize by printing a new line character. So this new line character ita make sure that hizi output ambazo ziko hapa juu hazitashikana na prompt yetu ya terminal. So let us exit. Yeah. I hope everything is fine. Yeah. So itakuwa GCC 4 is alpha, alafu output tunataka kuiandika as 4 is alpha.
Ni semicolon.
Oh, sawa.
Ebu paste hii sticker, unaweza ipaste kwa online compiler, I think itakuwa better, ndio ikuonyeshe error, usishinde close ukifunga.
Kwanza wacha ni kama the reason I think imetuletea shida na ile ni cause the backstroke inatumika kama nini, inaitwa nini?
Escape character.
Escape character.
Inatumika kama escape character.
So weke mbili.
Nimebadilisha tu, like instead of the
Sawa.
hiyo backslash nimeka //
Viti.
Sawa. Acha tujaribu kirun tena. Yeah. Alpha is alpha. Nimefanya
Make perfect
makosa.
sense, as in code iko imeleta the output 00 kwa jili. Ukitumia the and sign, it makes it compulsory, inafai kufuata all of the
By
things
the
in your
way,
condition. So you're supposed to put or pahali hapo hivyo. Hapo, yeah,
sawa.
the second one, yeah.
Hapa sasa tutumia or. Compile tena. Alafu 4 is alpha. Exactly. So let me go through my code. So hapa nilianza declaring include my standard library ambayo nitaitumia because I'll be using put char. So lazima ni include the standard input output library, alafu nika declare my function is alpha. So for line 5 nimetumia the if statement. So kwa the if statement, the first part of the condition ni kucheck if that character is an alphabet ambao ni lowercase, and then like msia lazima include this or cause vile tumediscover that ukitumia and then italazimisha like hiyo character ikue both lowercase na uppercase, which doesn't make sense. So that's why tunatumia or. That means the character is either lowercase or uppercase. So so hii ni condition ya kucheck if the character is lowercase, na hii ni condition ya kucheck if the character is uppercase. So msisahau kutumia the or, and then what like what if this condition, alafu or, by the way, if the character is lowercase but not uppercase, so huwa inakuanga this will return as true and this will return as false. So false or operator inatumika like it will return true whenever either conditions is true. Let me try to comment it out. So like the or in a function, so we have true true or false, what we get ni nini? True or false, itatupatia true.
I think kenye una explain ni ya whatever hiyo ni ya and, but for nini for
In your or. In your or.
Linear or
true or false.
true, true or false huwa ina return true, alafu true or true ita return true, alafu false or false ita return false. So false only returns false kama both conditions are false, but ikikuja kwa and, that is and itakuwa ni true or false, itakupatia itakuwa
If unaweza click hiyo link nimeweka, inaweza explain better. I think hata Mutuma alikuwa ameexplain jana ama ni jana through that table.
ni sawa. So mnaweza fuata hiyo link, itapatia more like more explanation on hizi operator and or.
Unaweza enda if anyone ukifungua page 31 inaonyesha just hiyo table.
So hapa like if input yetu ama if our argument ni either, that means if it is either an uppercase or lowercase, then this whole condition ita return as true. But if haita meet any of this condition, that means haita meet hii condition ya it's a lowercase alphabet ama it's an uppercase alphabet, then the whole condition itakuwa false. So tuna return 1 alafu else tuna return 0. That is if our argument isn't an uppercase or lowercase letter. I hope nimeexhaust. Kuna msee ako na question ama ana need any clarification?
Amani uko sawa bana. Nishukuru bana.
Sawa. So question 5 ni write a function that prints the sign of a number. So prototype ni hii. Prototype ambayo tunafai tutumie ni hii print sign, and then return 1. It returns 1 if and prints plus if n is greater than 0, and returns 0 and prints 0 if n is 0, and returns -1 and prints -1 and prints negative if n is less than 0. So pia this ni quite an easy one, like so hapa tu tutatumia nini, tutatumia just the control statements, that is if else ama if else. Actually I think tunaweza tumia if tatu ama tutumie if else. So hapa tunasema if nini return 0 if n, yeah. So if we check if n is greater than 0, return tunaanza na print print positive 1 ama only 1, print 1 and return but tunatry to print positive and return 1. Check if check 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 if n is less than 0,
Is equal to 0.
print negative and return return negative. Check if n is 0, print 0 and return 0. Yeah. Yeah, so this is just the whole logic. Tuna check kwanza tunaanza kucheck if n is greater than 0 to print plus alafu to return 1, and then we check if n is less than 0, we print the negative sign and return 1, and then we check if n is equal to 0, we print 0 and return 0. So tutaenda tuchukue hii si file yetu, just put it over there, and then I'm gonna include our standard input file, a standard input the standard and input header library ama input library. Alafu what else is needed? Tunataka the prototype ambayo itatupatia the declaration of our function. Tupatia declaration of our function, so tunaiweka hapo, alafu so tunaanza na kucheck if n is greater than 0, what we are supposed to return. Hadi tunaweza tu kunini, what we are supposed to return is sorry, one thing you're supposed to realize ni hawezi no statement can come before the return value. Like once the return statement return statement imekuwa like imefikiwa, then that means the whole program ina end, so nothing after the return statement itakuwa read. So tunafai tuseme put char 0 plus Let me put char, into my printf. Maybe before hapa inafaa kuwe tuna print positive. Char. Positive. Then end up with if how return. So after printing the positive sign, return, we are supposed to return nini positive 1. Alafu tunasema if n is less than 0, and then tunafai to put char negative, alafu our return value should be -1, alafu tunasema if n is equal to 0, then what we are supposed to do ni display the character, display 0, alafu to return the value negative, to return the value 0. I think kila kitu iko sawa. Then after that tunaenda ku define our main function. To declare main function doesn't take any parameter. Inside the main function, we'll just call our tunaweza nini since we are already using put char, there's no need ya ku save, there's no need ya ku wacha tutumie the test cases zao. So hapa wamesema int r and then akaweka r, akasema print 98, print sign, then 98, and then atachukua nini, ichukua hii test case ya hexadecimal nafanya ni put char alafu tukue here ya hexadecimal. Three.
Unicode gani unatumia? Unicode gani unatumia?
Nachukua tu hiyo code ya the main function ya hiyo task 5.
No, like ukisha paste inakuwa out of order. So kuna kitu una type hapo.
Unafanya tu unafinya escape, alafu una press G mara mbili, alafu unasema equal sign, alafu una input capital G.
Sawa sawa.
Ni tu hapo. Iko kwa chat, unaweza kuiangalia. So yeah. Alafu tuchukue hii ya negative. I think we are done na kuingiza zote cases zetu. Let me try to run it, nione kama inafanya. CC 5 fine. C, alafu tunataka output yetu ikue inajiita 5 sign. So inaambia implicit declaration. Implicit declaration that is
Underscore put car.
Nitumia underscore put car. So
pia naona kuna watu wengine wamejoin, tunafanya let's task 2 ya functions.
hapa zimeleta hivi.
Hakukuwa na nini ya new line kuseparate hapo plus.
Yes, weka new line. Yeah. So what you can do ni ku add the new lines just so that ikue clear. Yeah. And then tuweke new line character yetu hapo. So
Kujifunga.
Na hizi zingine like pia lazima kuwe na nini new line character hapo ndani.
Kama ina separate two
I think anauliza hizi kwa nini function
Or if
definition.
huku itakuwa affected vile.
Because naona like nini
Ebu run code tuone, but
Nini,
I think int
uko
main
na
ndio
error,
nini
uko na
yetu
error,
inaanza.
uko na error kwa code.
sawa,
Uko na error kwa
acha
code.
nita oh,
Hujafunga hiyo put card.
wapi? Oh, weka semicolon. So semicolon iko hapo. Safi. So acha ni go through that code.
I think kuna code umeduplicate. Kuna code umeduplicate ndio maana ina print plus na 1 na plus na 1 mara mbili. Actually inapaswa kuwa ya hivyo, but kuna 00. Line yako ya code inapaswa kuwa na 4 lines zenye zimekuwa repeated ndio ikue ama iko sawa, I'm not sure.
Wajua siku paste kila test case.
Okay, ni sawa basi. Then I think iko sawa.
Sikuweka hiyo ya 0. Niliweka tu hiyo
Okay,
ya
ni sawa.
hexadecimal. Yeah.
Okay, ni sawa, unaweza endelea ku-explain
Yeah.
code.
So like hapa tumeanza na kudefine our print sign function. So hii print sign ina check if n is greater than 0. If n is greater than 0 inatumia put char ku display the plus sign kwa terminal yetu, then it returns a 1. It returns an integer 1. Alafu the second if inatumika kuonyesha if n, that is if the argument that you have supplied equal less than 0, and then if it is less than 0 ina display the negative sign kwa terminal and it returns a -1 integer. And then if n is equal to 0, then ita display 0 kwa terminal yetu, and then it will return a 0. It will return a 0 from our function here print sign. So and then hapa tunakuja tuna declare int yetu. Tuna declare a variable r in the data type int of type int. Alafu the statement that follows ina call the print sign function taking the argument 98, and then it returns. So itaenda hapa icheck is 98 greater than 0. Kama 98 is greater than 0, which is so, ita print plus, alafu ita return positive 1. Ita return the integer 1. So ikireturn the integer 1 itakuwa saved in the variable r. Assign it to the variable r. So and then when this code run, tutajua imesha print the positive sign, alafu ita print hii comma, alafu ita print hii empty space, and then ita print sasa the return value which is 1. Alafu ita print the new line character, alafu ita go to the next test ambayo ni tutatumia print sign function. To call the print sign function and give it the argument 0xff, which is a hexadecimal. The hexadecimal itakuwa converted into an integer. Hiyo nini like hiyo stuff like inakuwa referred to as typecasting. So you're converting you're converting hapa sasa. Actually hii itakuwa typecasting because this is just nini itakuwa a character, so like nini itakuwa converted into nini the ASCII code itaingizwa hapa. Tutatafuta like ASCII code ambayo ina correspond na hiyo value ya this hexadecimal ambayo ni int, alafu itacheck if n is greater than, is it greater than 0 ama is it less than 0 ama is it equal to 0. So hapa like if it is greater than 0 it will ita execute hii code ambayo ni kuprint plus kwa our terminal and then returning nini integer 1. If it is not itafanya hivi and then ita go to the next case ambayo ni gani? Yeah. Hii ya tutacall print sign na -1. So tukicall this print sign with -1, ita check if is -1 greater than 0. No, so it will return false or haita execute code. Is -1 less than 0, then ita execute code ambayo iko on the second if. So that means ita put char in ita put char the negative sign kwa terminal yetu, then it will return a -1 integer. So then hiyo ina
I
follow tu
think
hivyo.
Dennis anauliza mbona hukutumia if else. I think it's still the same thing vile sai ni njia moja kutumia if statement if I'm not wrong.
Alafu nilikuwa niliangalia like what is it, a video nyingine iko inasema using if else isn't advantageous to the programmer because like it will come a time like shida if else ni how can I explain it? Kuna like ukianza kuongezewa hizi conditions, labda uambiwe sasa tunataka namba ambayo iko between 2 and kitu kama 3, then itakuwa difficult for you to add that condition, but if else inaweza work, but kutumia multiple ifs is more advisable.
So ukitumia multiple ifs ni kama unatumia switch case statements.
Yeah, ni kama unatumia switch statement, but the difference na switch statement ni switch statement tu iko na the cases lazima zikwe zinaitwa nini, constant
On one line, constant.
Yeah. So yeah, but unaweza tumia if else kama inakubamba. So that's it. Kuna mtu anaweza kuendelea from hapo? I need a break. I need to do something else right now. That is if no one has a question except for
The other person mwenye alikuwa anapaswa kulead I think ilikuwa either nani Sankara na ule mtu alikuwa anaitwa Hazi, but
Ilikuwa ni Maira, sijui Maira.
naona kulikuwa na Sankara na Hazi but naona nikaa hawako, so sijui kama Odoro anaweza endelea ama
Sawa.
Yeah, ni sawa tu. Hello?
Let
Hello?
me stop sharing. Hello.
Oh, sawa, unanisikia?
Yeah, let's endelea.
Sawa.
I'll have to excuse myself.
yeah, okay, thanks for your presentation. I think kila msee understand the money. Ama mnaonaje? Labda anatasikia
Imekuwa
important.
sawa sawa.
Ni sawa.
Yeah, tumeelewa.
So let me just share my screen. I think you can see what I'm saying, yeah? So, just a second again. Check my content. Okay, so number 6. There is no, okay, write a function that computes the absolute value of an integer. The absolute value of an integer. So I think we already know, rather the way I would approach this is that an absolute value is just a positive value. Yeah? That is a value without a negative sign. So we'll just do a simple check and say if int is greater than 0, then that means it is absolute. Yeah. If integer is less than 0, then it means that it is a negative number. If you want to change a negative number to a positive number, you obviously multiply it by -1, such that you will get the absolute value. So just as simple as that, we'll just check for a number. If the number is greater than 0, it's an absolute value. If the number is less than 0, it's a negative value. If it's a negative value, you change it to an absolute value by multiplying it by -1. Yeah. Okay. So let me just do that practically. Hi. So sorry for that. Here we are. So to file it's called six tabs, then our prototype. Get the file. So there we are. So just the usual include and we call our function prototype, and then you see we are supposed to be returning a value. Now, personally, what I usually do is when I'm defining a function and I have noticed the return type, the first thing that I will do is I will just declare a variable called return value, and I will just return value, just to be sure that I don't forget to return. I will not check. So just if n is greater than 0, function it's the prototype. Okay. So I'm guessing that we're just supposed to return the value. They haven't told us the return type itself, but from the using the test case that has been provided, I am seeing that we are returning the value itself just being an absolute value. Because here you see they've passed -1, then they returned 1. Here they passed 0, they returned 0, 1, like that. So I'm guessing we'll just we will return. So here you can set return value equal n. You're saying if n is greater than 0, then that means it is already absolute. So what I am returning now is n as an absolute value, and I'm just storing it in return value, then I'm just returning it here. Just as simple as that. The next check then will be if n is less than 0, the return value is equal to n times -1. Remember from our explanation here that if it is less than 0, it gives a negative value. To turn it to the absolute value, you multiply it by -1. So that will give us the return value, an absolute value is positive. Then one last check, if n is equal to 0, what we do is just set the return value to be equal to 0, just like that. That does it. So I'll just call the function. And then we can pass -98 past. I can yank this and just further. Yeah, that's just the work of the function. In my main, I have called the function, I have passed it -9, -98, 1, and 0. So ordinarily, it's just supposed to give us 98, 9, 1, 0 if our check here passes. So, yeah. now I'll run the function. Yeah, I'll run the file. It's called abs, and then so we've just returned, but we haven't necessarily printed the return type. So I can just do print, and then I can do that. So what I'm doing here is I am taking the function. We know that the function is going to return an integer. So I am taking the function here, and then I want to print, I am using a format specifier D because I am printing a decimal value, in this case being an integer. So the return value of this function is going to be, stored in D. Yeah, that's why we're using the format specifier D. Just as simple as that. I can change this to -8. I can change that to 8. I can change that to 1. I can change that to 0. There we go. We have 98, the absolute value. Remember, we passed in a negative. We have 9, we passed in negative. We have 0 and 1. Just as simple as that. So we'll move on to the next question, unless there's somebody who has a question. So.
I think kila mtu understand up until thanks for that.
So. Now we're here. So write a function that prints the last digit of a number. The last digit, you remember we were using modulo 2. So returns the value of the last digit. So I will just do that quickly. Okay, let me just get this a second.
Settings, uko bado? Settings.
Niko. Nilikuwa nimesikia.
Hata nadhani tunapaswa kuwa tunauliza Mutuma.
Okay, nani si so far mmefika namba
So I'm done. Let me just share my screen again. There we are. So, number 7. So write a function and prints the last digit of a number. You remember we said the last digit of a number is modulo. We use modulo 10. So I will just do that a bit quickly. Yeah. So I'll just create the file. And I will put the function declaration structure prototype here. I think it's supposed to be here. We are. supposed to be this one here. So just the obvious include min of h, h. So our function, so I declare my return value, and I return it. Simple as that. So so we're just printing the last digit of a number. So we'll just say hello, sorry. Oh, nilikuwa muted. Hello?
ulikuwa umemute, I think.
What? Okay. Sorry for that. I was saying that we're doing this task 7, printing the last digit of a number. The last digit of a number is modulo 10. We're using modulo 10. So I was saying, so modulo 10 will give us the last digit. This one is a bit simpler. We just store the last digit in the return value itself, and then we just return the return value. Such that if you're calling the function here, digit, and then we pass something like 5, expected output is supposed to be 5. Yeah. So I can just print this. But okay, then 7. Let me go. Yeah, you see, we get 5. So I think it works. Just as simple as that. So in the check, here we have the passed in 98, 0, 24 negative. Yeah. So then again, yeah, sema.
Yeah, unaweza endelea. Nilikuwa nataka kuambia uoneshe code but ni sawa, iko poa.
Yeah. Sasa nilikuwa nataka kusema that naona hapa kwa test case that they've given a negative value. So the purpose of this is just you go back to our absolute. You remember now we know how to get an absolute value. So you convert the negative into an absolute value. In this case, itakuwa 1024. Then after you've converted it into an absolute value, then you get the last digit. And I think because we already know how to do that, we can just move on to number 8. Yeah. So unless there's anybody with a question regarding task 7, I'll just move on to 8. Sawa. So task 8, write a function that prints every minute of the day of Jack Bauer, starting from 00 to 23:59. When you look at the output that has been generated here, you can already notice that we sort of like have 2 for loops. One from printing 00, the other one from printing minutes. So it is as if we have a for loop for printing the hour and also another for loop for printing the minutes. Now,
Odor, mic yako iko muted. Unanisikia sasa?
Sasa tunakusikia.
Nakusikia.
Nilikuwa nimepotea wapi?
Kuna
Alikuwa
mtu
mute.
amelalia keyboard ana mute kila mtu.
I think kuna mtu amelalia keyboard akimute watu.
Abu amuka.
But
Abu amuka bana.
but ni hapo kwa 00 ndio umepotea kwenye umeanza ku type 00.
But I think kuna msee hapa hivi ana mute na kukikosea out na sijui ni kwa nini.
Ulitoa huyo msee. Hakuna hayuko. But I think hii ni story nyingine. But yeah.
So anyway, I was just here. I was saying that we'll have two for loops, one for printing the hours, the other one for printing minutes. Now, if I declare a variable like h and I say that h is equals to 0, when I'm in my for loop, at least for the first for loop, I will say while h is less than 24, so that we can, this is hour, where, let me just indicate that. So h will be representing the hour, and I will say int m is equals to 0. This one will represent so in my first for loop, so for h, while h is less than where are we? So while h is less than 24, h plus plus, this will be our first for loop, and then this for loop will be responsible for printing the hour. But we don't necessarily have to do this here. We can now use another for loop and say for m, while it is less than 59, do m plus plus. Simple facts. So now what we're doing is for the first for loop, when h is equals to 0, minutes should actually iterate from 0 all the way to 59. Yeah, that's what's supposed to happen. So when hour is 0, minutes should iterate all the way to 59. And then I am noticing again that if we decide to use two for loops, it might be a bit problematic getting 0, 0. If we use a for loop, I know we can get 0. Okay, yeah, but that's just a bit of an understanding. Let me just try and code this into work. But I can decide to replace the first for loop with a while loop. I can replace this one with a while loop and say while. So that would mean then that I will have to have a variable like I, where I is 0, and then I'll use this as a counter. So I will say while I is not equal to 24, so that we can iterate it, then we can wrap everything inside a for loop like that. And then, yeah. I think this one will work so that we can print things here. So what we can do here is, in order for us to get the 2 digits, we can print the first digit. So F for first digit, for example, then the F for the second hour, let me say second hour digit. So it will be first hour digit, then we can then okay. separate this using a semicolon, so using a colon, like that, and then we can go ahead and print, first, minute, digits, and then we can go ahead and print the second, minute, digit. Now, how you will do this is, for the first digit, you can divide hour by 10. This does give you the first digit. I think kuna project tulifanyanga ya first digit, second digit. So if you were to divide h by 10, it will give you the first digit. If you divide hour by using modulo 10, then it will give you the last digit. And then you equally also implement that here. So 10, then m modulo 10. That will give you the first digit. And yeah. So I think this one looks like it can work. So yeah, and then here, so we can just walk through this code. We have h, which is the hour. We have I, which will be the counter, and this counter is going to count 24 times. This is like using the first for loop, so that we want to count 24 times. And this while loop is responsible for making sure that we've counted at least 24 times. Next, and we're counting it up to 24. Yeah. Next, we are inside this for loop. Inside this for loop, m is equals to 0, and I think we're supposed to initialize this here. So I'll say m is equals to 0. So the difference between initializing it here and having it here is that let me see. If you do this, if you do this, this code will run 59 times. If you do this, this code will run once, but for 59 times. There's a difference. If you do this, this code will run, this code here will run 59 times. If you remove it, this code will run, but just for 59 times. I hope you get that difference. So let's unlock that. So print our digits. In this case, our is 0. So when we divide h by 0, we get 0. When you get the modulo, you get 0. So you get the first and second digit as 0, 0. Print f, we have the semicolon. Then minute is 0. So we are definitely going to get 0. Then while it is 0, we are equally going to get 0. So for this for loop will work. But what we have to do down here is we have to increase the value of the hour. And the value of the hour, we will just append it by 1. We just append it by 1. And then obviously we increase the counter plus. So yeah, I think this one will work. If there's anybody who's noticing anything that I'm not, feel free to share. But I think this one will work. So I will just duplicate this in terminal. I think we're here. So we have the prototype, copy, and then the name of the function, so the name of the file. And I will include the prototype in the main file. Then I will create the file. So just the obvious. So now we don't need to declare return type. Yeah. So the function is simply to print hours and minutes. So in this hour, that will be 0. then we need our counter. So 5 is equals to 0. Hold on. Counter. So there we go. So we need while counter 24. 20. So we implement the for loop. We'll say 4. And
3 not equal to 2.
yeah.
Kumeandika tu equal to
Sorry, I can't get you quite clearly.
like declare contour declare
Oh yeah. Yeah. So so while I is not equal to that, what we're doing is saying as long as minute is less than less than or equal to 59, because we need that 59 m plus plus. Then what we're doing here now to get if we use printf, we probably won't get the digit. Oh no, we'll get the digits. So let's just use printf. So then what we're doing here we are doing h just as simple as that. That's the first digits. The first hour digit to be specific. So we're doing h modulo 10. Then we're doing colon e. So the first digit of minutes, so we can call m divided by 10. Printf again. And so again, I will explain this again. This one, the first hour digits, the last hour digits, first minute digits, last minute digits, and this is what is simply just separating them. Then, according to our whiteboarding session, we have to increase h counter. We have to increase h and counter. So I will just do that. H plus and yeah, I just need to be sure that this code will run. So just to predict an outcome, there might be two things that are going to happen. Number one, we might not actually print this code. Also, this is supposed to be I. Okay. So for M, for the first loop, I is going to be 0. We will enter. Then we will divide H by 10 to give us 0. So I can imagine when H is something like 13, yes, it will work. If it doesn't work, we will have to put, we'll have to reset minutes to 0. So that after it is done with the while loop, when it comes back here, but I think that's what we're doing this. Okay, I think it will work. I'm just thinking out loud. Okay. Oh, I forgot, we don't have a main function. So let me just declare the main function. So we call the function let me separate this with a line. I think I'd have to separate that somewhere. We have 0, 0. We have 0, 0, 0, 1. So we'll separate
Weke
it.
hapo ukimaliza umalizie na backslash n hapo.
Hapa.
Alafu from there we can debug nini tunaweza ka solve kama kuna any issue.
I think yeah, I think that will do. So we can just but now that it is printing up to 22.
But it's not equal to 23, so aka 24.
Yeah.
Alafu weke nini haifiki 59.
Yeah, ifike 59, nafika 48. Okay, let me see. The second digit in a print mpaka 8. I don't know why, but let me see. If there's anybody who has an idea, you can just share.
Hebu scroll juu nione kama ni hii 40s peke yake inafika mpaka 8 ama hizi zingine zinafika mpaka 8.
Let me try something. There we go. Yeah, I think iko poa sasa. So it's just resenting. Sorry, I remember when I was predicting the outcome. I think let me see. Oh, the problem is, you see now in the main while loop, we will loop up to 24. Then once we've looped up to 24, that is sorry. That is where we stop. Once we've stopped at 24, no, I don't think that's it. Well, I don't know if there's anybody who can find a better explanation. I think you can just give us an explanation. But this is how I'd implement the code. We can replace the while loop with a for loop. Maybe somebody else can do that as an explanation. But yeah. Is there anybody with a question?
I think that for loop it's specifically working for the main. So kama like when you run the code prior to that, it wasn't reaching like 59, sindio? So in my speculation is like every time it reached 59 minutes, as much as ulikuwa una initialize hapo m is equals to 0, kwa the hour hand ni kama haikuange na note that initialization.
Okay. Okay, I think after I have commented out after I have commented out the reinitialization, after I've commented out the reset, and then I run it again, we actually do get to 59.
So ni
I
compile ilikuwa
think
90. Ngoja, kuna manini zenye hazifiki.
no, I think maybe your time nearly stop outputs katikati. Yeah.
Oh. Kwa jile,
Yeah.
kumbe ina make sense.
Haikuwa ina make sense, but I think that's it. We can replace while with a for loop, but I think yote umeelewa, yeah?
So while loop hiyo ya kiasi hiyo while loop basically kenye inafanya inaanza ku count from if as in up to 24 alafu inakuja huko chini kwa h plus plus na I plus plus then inarudi hapa ndani kwa for loop.
Yeah. I am using I as a counter. I am just using I as a counter. It is supposed to count because we have 24 hours in a day. We want to do this 24 times. So that is the purpose of this while. So while I is not equal to 24, we'll run this code 24 times. So for the first time, we run the for loop. Then after we are done, we increase h by 1. So that so for the first for loop h itakuwa 0. I think najua unaelewa. So we just increase h I just like that. Yeah. Sorry?
Exactly how a clock works.
Oh yeah. So I think trick hii swali ilikuanga tu hapa kwa kutoa first digit na last digit. Divide by 10 first digit modulo 10 last digit. So is there anybody else who has a question? Sawa. Next ni times table. Write a function that prints the 9 times table starting with 0. Okay. So from the output here, we can see that we have something like an array. So we have something like 0. We have something like 0, 1, 2, 3, something like that here. Then we have something like 0, a number, blah, blah, blah. So what we need then is whenever I have output that looks like this, the first thing that usually comes to mind is a for loop. A for loop that is going to create the rows and then another one that is going to create the columns. So I can just declare my variable in I to the row, j to the column. Then we are printing a 9 times table. Obviously, it will be easy just to hard code this, but we can declare a variable in n that will store 9. That we can even change this to 3 to print a 3 times table. We can change it to 2 to print a 2 times table. We can change it to 5, blah, blah, blah. So I'll just store it temporarily in a variable called 9. Now, so the next thing is to implement our for loops. So for the rows now, for I is equals to 0, I will say I is less than, okay. Now, the number of rows that we're supposed to print. We find that in a 9 times table, the number of rows is dependent on the times table that we're printing. So if it is a 9 times table, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 rows. 10 to be precise if we're starting from 0, but I'm sure you get the gist. We have the number of rows is dependent on the times table itself. So the number of rows in this case is going to be dependent on n. So we can say n, increase n by 1. I hope nimeeleweka mpaka hapo. If there's anybody who would like me to clarify, just ask. Sawa sawa. Sawa sawa. So I will just repeat it again. From the output, we're implementing a for loop. We want to print the rows. Sorry, we want to print the rows, and we also want to print the columns. We use two for loops. That is a nested loop, you know. So then this one here will be in charge of our rows. Then here, this one will be in charge of our columns. So from J equals to 0, let's see J, the columns. Now the columns is equally dependent on the n times table. If you're printing a 9 times table, the number of columns is supposed to be n. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, n. So in this case, I'd say J is less than or equal to n, then I increase J. Yeah. I think we're good at that point. Now here is where magic happens. So inside of here, this is where we're supposed to print, you know, table, for example. So the way we will do this is to print a table from the output here. You see this is 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. This is 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, blah, blah, blah. And then this is a 9 times table. When tulikuwa tunatumia times table kitambo ni unachukua 0, you take what is here, you multiply it with 1, you get a 0, for example. I hope I am not wrong. I can't remember how to use the times table. Yeah, Sage, nasikia ukiongea. But it was something like that, sindio? Yeah, sorry, I can't hear you. Faith anasema the intersection. What do you mean by intersection? Okay. Okay, anyway, but okay. What I'm just trying to explain is you can notice the last row. If you notice the last row here, yes, Sage sikusikii. As in you're breaking. I can hear you for a while and then your audio sort of like dims. Okay, anyway, okay. Hata sielewi, naona Faith ananiambia where the row meets the column. Where does the row meet the column? Where the row, for example, this here being the row, meets the column. The column in this case being I don't know. Faith, unaweza unmute tu uelezee.
Nasema kama uko kwa row, tuende kwa row number 5, alafu uende chini maybe 5 times 7 hapo 5, alafu uende kwa column ya number 7. Si ni 35. 7 times 5 is 35.
Oh, like
Intersection
this, yeah.
ndio the value. Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's been long. Yeah. been long. But anyway, yeah. So now we have some sort of an idea of how a times table works. So just give me a second. Just a second.
Ed, oh, Sage, nasemaje? Wow, sijali, inaeleweka. Ed, Ed,
The settings.
semaje?
Sorry for that. Anyway, so 9 times table. Let's just do that. So um, just the usual include. Just the usual include function. So hashtag h I'm in a different directory. I'm using a different directory. Yeah. Anyway, so that's why we can't find the main file. But you know what? Right, so we have two for loops. So in I, it will be the row. We have j column. Then when we look at our board, so we have the row, the column, and then just some value that will store our some value that is going to be storing our n. Yeah. So then let's do n is equals to this is 9. 9. So then I can start with the for loop for the rows. So I can say when I is equals to 0, when I is less than or equal to n. Yeah, then I plus plus. So this one will be responsible for the rows. And another for loop responsible for the columns. And then guys, I'm a bit in a hurry. So I think nitamaliza after this one. And what we're doing now, Now we have a for loop for the rows, another for loop for the columns. And then what we're supposed to be doing now is to print the values themselves. So venye nani ametuelezea that times table is when you look at the row, where the row meets the column is the value, where the row meets the column. So if I was to take something like 5, for example, and I am supposed to multiply it by 7, we're supposed to get 35. So essentially what we're doing then is we are multiplying a value of the row times a value of the column to get an answer. Yeah. I think that's the best way to explain it. B. And then what we're doing is we're doing I times J. Just like that. So, yeah, it's going to work. So we call the times table. Okay, we get that. I think you can just edit the output. I can put this there. Okay, it's coming along. We can put another space here. I'm just trying to, make the output become what we want it to be. So I hope I could answer my there. Yeah, so it's supposed to give us something like this. Yeah, so we have 0, 0, 0, 0 like that. Yeah. So for example, 5 times 7 is supposed to give us 35. So then next what we're supposed to do is we're supposed to align, just to try and align the output to look something like this. And then here they've given us a bit of a guidance where they're translating a space to a dot. So we know that the output is supposed to take a comma, a space, like that. So it's comma, space, space. Yeah, so this is comma, space, space. It's supposed to be like that. But then the problem is I can already predict its outcome, because if I move the space, it's going to do that for all of them, even for the ones that are down here. But we only want it to do it for the ones that are up here. So space. Yeah, exactly what we had expected. Yeah. But anyway, I think tumeelewa. Maybe you guys can now help me try to, sort of like format it. But yeah, I think that's just it. It's I times J, which will give you the multiplication table. We have one for loop for the row, another for loop for the column. Then the product themselves is what makes the inside of the table. So 20, 25, 30 like that. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's it. Is there anybody who has a concern or a question? But then it's just that I'm in a hurry, but I can't really go into trying to format this. So maybe you guys can just provide guidance. That will be really helpful.
Iko poa hapo hivyo. Teju unasemaje?
Sage I think anajaribu provide solution ya kupanga.
Yeah, Sage. The problem is siwezi sikia Sage. Sijui kama kuna msee mwingine anamsikia. Maybe it's my end.
Hivyo net ya Sage na nikaa iko hivyo. Ni net.
Oh.
Ama Ed uko na way out. Kuna wase wengine. Ed.
So I think there's also a similar question in task number 12. Write a function that prints the n times table starting with 0. So what you will do in number 12 is you just replace n with the number that you want. So in this case, for example, if you want 3, the 3 and we have a 3 times table like that. If we replace n with 6, it will work the same way. There we go.
I think Sage anataka kuongea.
Isema Sage.
Net iko na issue, wacha tu. Net iko na issue. Sijui if I can help.
Saizi tunakusikia.
Tunakusikia bana.
So like kwa hii hiyo loop ya kwanza ilikuwa na 2 dots. Loop ya pili the dots zili increase. Loop ya tatu ikiendelea increase as in ya pili ilikuwa na 2 as in ile increase the more the figures increased like kwa intranet. So like in our solution we are not to have space hapo printing the more it increases the more you blend it.
Unasema hapa?
Yeah.
Like after this for loop?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like kuna printf hapo ya ku create space. Kwanza alafu ikiendelea the more it continues the more it creates space or something of the sort.
And then space yenye unasema ni just space ama new line? New line ama space, sorry?
Space.
I think we can just try it out.
I'm scared.
Yeah, uta replace hapo kwa 6 na 9 eh. Ulikuwa umechange size.
Okay. Naona hii increase just a space in our row.
Unaona hapo kwenye ilikuwa imeandikwa kwenye umeweka 6 from int n. I think weka 9 hapo. Sage, I think Sage. Sijui ni Sage ongea but
But I just lettered the desired output. But I think
anasema wake nini space character kwa the next for loop, si ya kwanza. Maana wadu message amesema
nike space hapa. Yeah. Stage unasema hivi. But yeah, anyway, that's just how personally I would have approached the problem. And then
Yeah, ni sawa.
it's also the same for number 12. Just replace n with the number that you want. Same for number 12. Yeah. I think from there ningependa I'd like to leave the meeting. So I think msi mwingine anaweza endelea, probably Amani.
Amani left, so but thanks for your presentation, ilikuwa awesome. I think Mira alikuwa amesema atajaribu but Nina ametoka.
Maybe naweza pitia tu number 10, number 11, just haraka haraka because naona ni kama they are a bit simpler. Is that okay?
Sawa. I think watu wameagree.
Sawa. Okay, so number 10, write a function that adds two integers and returns the result. And then I think by tomorrow I'll find a way in which I can give a proper solution for this one. Unless there's just anybody else who has a different solution for number 9, but my solution wasn't able to kuweka hizo. Sasa kwa hii check, when I was submitting the assignment, I just did a hard code. I hard coded something that was able to pass the check, but I can't say that nilipata the desired output. But anyway, number 10, write a function that adds two integers and returns the results. So you can just use this file. So we have the prototype here. We include it in our header file. We have the name of the file, which is then add.c. So there we are. Our prototype. So the work of this function is just to add in two numbers. So I can declare a parameter there called a and b, and then the work of this function. So the function needs a return type. So I will just say return a plus b. Simple as that. I think then we wrap it in braces. Yeah, that's it. This function just it returns a plus b, which is adding a plus b. In this case, it's going to add 10 plus 20, and then this is me just printing out the result of this function. So we'll run that really quickly. There we go. It's starting. Yeah, I'm sure you get this. We change this to 15, such that we're adding 15 plus 30 to the desired output, which is 35. That is exactly what we get, 35 from here. Yeah. Sawa. Number 11. Write a function that prints all natural numbers from n to 98 followed by a new line. We have the prototype. Numbers must be separated by a comma followed by a new space. Numbers should be printed in order. The first printed number should be the number passed to your function. And then the last printed number should be 98. And yay, we are allowed to use the standard library. So let me just open our board. So all natural numbers from n to 98. So we have n in n, which is going to be what we're going to define, and then we are printing for while n is less than 98. Print all natural numbers from n to 98. So yeah, if n, so while n is less than or equal to 98, what we're doing is n plus plus, and natural values we will pass in n. Yeah, I think this is it. I think this one will work. So I'll just write that in terminal. Here we are. So the obvious that include voltage, then the function prototype. In this case is this one. Yeah, just print 98. So we'll just use a for loop. We can still use a while loop. We'll use a for loop. So we declare our number. We already have our number. So we can say for the n is less than or equal to 98, n plus plus. And then we just print in n. Yeah, like that, yeah. We call that in the main function. Then we just call print to 98. We pass in a number. So I think I'll do 95. So then I will test it. So now I will test it, yeah. We have 95, 96, 97, 98. If we passed in something like 5, get, that can print the first. I I print the first 5, it works.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's it for this one. Unless
So
there's
like
somebody
the
who has a
purpose.
question, and then I hope Cindy ndio sasa.
So purpose ilikuwa tu kuprint hiyo natural numbers. Okay.
Yeah, just from N to 98. But from 5, and 5 has to be one of the numbers. So 5, 6, 7, blah, 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 all the way till 8. So, yeah. Next, number 12. I think number 12 we've done it. Number 12 is just number 9, but then you just remember to make N.
Oh,
So, but if N is greater than 15 or less than 0, the function should not print anything. So do I need to go to number 12?
Mi naona iko sawa tu. Si lazima.
Yeah, because number 12 ilikuwa tu number 9, alafu unaweka tu check. You check. So that check will just look something like if N is greater than 15.
I think Ken amesema ni necessary repeating. I think
Oh, sawa.
and
So I think I'll just have to copy that code because ama tunaweza anza tu tena, there's no problem. So for number 12, we will use this code. And what we're doing now is, you remember when we were going through number 9, where we set N to be equal to 9. So here, what we'll just do is we'll add a check and say if N is greater than 15, or so if N is greater than 15 or less than 0, the function should not print anything. So you just add if N is greater than 15 or N is less than 0, then printf nothing. That's just it. So this is just what we are adding in the code. Is that okay, Ken?
thanks man. Unasikia?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Sawa. Haya. So utachukua tu hii code and then tunaongeza to the check. That's just it. Next is number 13. So number 13. If we list all natural numbers below 10 that are multiples of 3 or multiples of 5, we get 3, 5, 6, and 9. The sum of these multiples is 23. Write a program that computes and prints the sum of all multiples of 3 or 5 below 1024, which has to be excluded, followed by a new line. We are allowed to use the standard library. None is in advanced tasks. Okay, personally seek for the advanced. But this one also isn't hard. So if we list all natural numbers below 10 that are multiples of 3, we get 3, 5, 6, and 7. So the first step So the first step is to find multiples of 3. How do you find multiples of 3? Multiples of 3 are that when I take a number like n and I do modulo 3, it has to give me 0. And that would mean that it is a multiple of 3. Yes? For example,
Yeah, it's true.
yeah. So if I take n, I do modulo 3, that's 0. And then, so yeah, the first step is to find the multiples of 3. Then once we have the multiples of 3, we add the multiples of 3 together. And number 3, the other thing we're supposed to do that is we're doing all of this below 1024. So the n has to be less than 1024. Yeah. And you know, if we're using the less than, then the number that we're checking is automatically not included. So 1024 will not be included. Yeah, simple as that. So yeah. So I think we can start writing code for this one. So number one is to find the multiples of 3. We have modulo 10. Then we add the multiples of 3 together. So what we can do is we can use an if statement to check if n modulo 3 is equal to 0, then we know that this is a multiple. Yeah. So if n modulo 3 is equals to 0, we know that that is n. Now, in order for us to get n, we have to loop. We need to have a loop. That is, we need to check the value of n between n and n24. So we use a while loop and see while n is not equal. It is not equal to 3. Then we run our if statement. Yeah, I think mpaka hapa tumeelewana, si ndio? We have n. So while n is not equal to 1023, I am using the equal sign because I know for sure that this one will be included. Or I can just use the less than just to make this easier. Yeah, and then I can change this to 1024. So I'm checking while n is less than 1024, do this, and then I can do n plus plus. So then we increment the value of n. So when n is 0, it will do 0, modulo 3. If it passes, we know it is a multiple of 3. I think we can start by printing multiples of 3, and then we will go about how to add them. So let me just start with this one. So we have our function prototype, or we don't have a prototype. So yeah, I think we're just diving straight into the code. So int main returning an integer 0. So yeah, there we go. So we have in 10, this will store the number that we're going to be checking. Then we are looking. Oh, so I used a while loop here. No problem, you can still use a while loop or a for loop. Let me use the while loop, and you can use the for loop later. So in n is less than 1024, running an if. So if n modulo 3 is equal to 0, then we print the digits just to know the multiples of 3. We can separate it with a space. Then we are printing 10. Just to, this is just to give you a picture. So I will cut this down to 10. Then I will run this. Oh, sorry, I forgot to increment. So n is always going to be less than 10. So yeah. Back now. We have 0, 3, 0. 0 is not a multiple of 3, but anyway, 3, 6, 9. Let me just confirm that. We get 3, 5, 6, and 9. Oh. So now again, we were supposed to have multiples of 5 again. So good. So now I'll just go back to the drawing board. We are finding multiples of 3, that is n modulo 3, and multiples of 5, which is going to be n modulo 5. Back up to the level. It is n modulo 5. So our statement then is going to be if n modulo 3 is equals to 0 and n modulo 5 is also equals to 0, then we think that it is either a multiple of 3 or 5. Yeah, I think we're clear to that point. We just implement it in code like this. We add the AND statement and say n modulo 5 is equals to 0. Then I can wrap this around some places just to be sure. Some parentheses. There we go. So now we are checking if n is a multiple of 3 and if n is also a multiple of 5. And so there we go. So we have none. So there is no number between 0 to 10 that is a multiple of 3 and 5. So I'm guessing here we'll have to implement the use of OR. And we get 0, 3, 5, 6, and 9. So yeah, there we go. I think we can start from 1 instead of 0, so that we don't actually have to print 0. So picture again, have 3, 5, 6, and 9. So now we have the multiples of 3 and 5. So this check is done. Next is adding the multiples together. Okay. What I can do is once we have, okay, once the, let me just first of all replace this one. So I'm saying that once the check is complete and it returns a value, I can decide to use a counter, or not necessarily a counter. I can just declare a variable in sum, and I can initialize it to 0 initially. And I can say that if n is equals to 3, blah, 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 how we will add these numbers then. Okay. I will see. We will add. So I think we will add sum plus n. Yeah? It's as simple as that. Just sum plus n, because if this check is true, for example, let's take a dummy value like 3. Let's take 6. Let's take 9. And let's take 3. So 3, we know very well that 3 is a multiple of 3. So if this check passes, then we will add sum, which is 0 plus 3, and sum is going to be equal. So sum is going to be equal to 3. That is at least for the first check. When we reach to 6 and sum is 3, we append sum. We say that sum, which was 3. So let me just, so we can get a mental picture. Let's say for the, let's say, first loop, we have sum being 0. So 0 is equal to sum, which is 0 plus n, which is 3. Loop. By first loop, I just mean if we are looping through these 3 numbers. Okay, so first loop here, second loop like that. That's what I mean. Next is in the second loop now, the value of sum is going to be 3. So here it acquires 3 is equal to, sorry. We don't know sum. Sorry. So this is going to be equal to, the sum here is 3 plus the value of n, which is 6, so that it is going to give us 9. Yeah, just simple as that. Then we will loop through it again, such that the next one it acquire in the second loop, sum is 9, so it acquire 9 plus you see this value here, so it acquire 9 plus 9 give us 18. Simple as that. So that is how we will add the numbers. We declare a value, sum. We initially set it to 0, and then inside our loop, we keep on iterating it, such that at the end of it all here, now if we f and say sum is given by sum. Yes, I think we are okay up to there. If I hope we're okay.
Kuna mtu ana swali anaweza uliza, alafu karibu Hazi, naona umejoin. Ulikuwa unapaswa kutupeleka through tu, but I think maybe umeshikana, but tumeendelea.
Oh yeah. I was supposed to leave by 10 to be precise. So I think after here, I can just leave, and then to join kesho. You guys will be having, if we will be having a meeting.
Yeah, we'll be having a meeting every day. So settings.
Nimeshukuru. Haz. Oh, Hazi alikuwa kwa Haz.
First, we can just implement this in real code, that we can do it faster.
Okay, sir.
Saying sum is equal to sum plus n. Simple as that. Then just to be safe, I will wrap this around some braces. Yeah, there we go. So then we will print the value of sum. Key. Just say sum. There we go. So I think this code should work. Sum is equals to 0, sum. Yeah. Sawa. So the sum is 23, which is true. And we know that because they literally told us the sum is 23. So yeah, so now if we are to do it for numbers below 1024, we will just do that 1024, do that, and we have the sum as that value. So yeah, I think that's it.
Ah, nice. Yes. That's good. So sijui tusikie feedback ya wasee. Mnaonaje? Mi nimeelewa up until that point. Thanks Odor.
So also thank you to you guys as well for having the discussion, and then thank you for involving me as well. Yeah, so maybe tutapatana kesho pia.
Oh, leo mi nilikuwa kwa audience, so hata nikijaribu Ray, unajua umejaribu kuni-involve but leo mi ni audience bana. But
Hadi
Odor
mi ni audience
tumeshukuru.
manze.
Amani is not here but tumeshukuru. Alafu for everyone mwenye ameshow up bwana, at least tunakuwa na hiyo nini sake ya ku